All right, surprise! Back here on a
Surprise!
Monday.
Look at that.
Surprise! Welcome to the Everything NYJ podcast, episode 68.
Look
Surprise
at
here on a
that.
Monday.
Look
How
at
you doing,
that.
Gino?
You
Italy
know,
Jet here.
I am super excited. I've had a rough day, and I haven't talked to you about this. I had a
No.
really rough day. It was snowing so
Oh, that's
much here, and there was a 12-car pileup by my house, at least 10 to 15 minutes away from my house. And it's been snow. They haven't said anything like what happened, and no one can predict this. This was a complete surprise.
just
So
like everything.
yeah. So it's been funny. It's been really interesting day. What about you? What's up with you?
Well, it was actually sunny and 55 here on Long Island today. It was nice out. It doesn't feel like January. I mean, actually, we had a washed up whale because the whales just don't know where to go because it's January and warm, so it's just like the whole climate is all just messed up. I don't know, man. It's just crazy times we're living in. Hopefully nobody in that car pileup was severely injured. That sucks though. I've seen some crazy ones, and it's just now it becomes insurance, and now it's a whole thing. That's absolutely sucks.
It, I don't even know what they were thinking. We've had some interesting drivers lately. Like that's just been weird. And like the weather hasn't been it's been so all over the place. There's so many things going on in one week. I just don't know what's happening anymore. So
Yeah.
it's been pissing me off, but hey, what can you do?
What
I
is
mean,
happening?
what is happening?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how's work? Everything okay with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just hanging in there, working, uh, doing some fire alarm. Just bringing more electric to Long Island one day at a time, dude. Just kicking along, kicking along.
There you go. There you go. Hey,
But what's up?
what are you thinking with everything going on? With everything going on with the quarterbacks, what do you think about the game? What are you thinking?
So I watched the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game. I had to go to work, but of course I was, tuning in and listening. And obviously I didn't watch the game, the AFC Championship game, but like to no surprise, the referees were just absolutely atrocious. Um, the NFC Championship game, who would have predicted
Right.
that the 49ers would fall apart the way they did? Absolutely terrible. Their quarterback situation, worse than the NFL right now. I mean, you had Christian McCaffrey as your quarterback.
I know.
Christian McCaffrey as your quarterback. Should we throw
Right.
him in? Could we get Lamar? Could we get
Shit.
Garoppolo, Derek
Shit.
Carr,
Right.
Aaron
Right.
Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey? I mean,
I don't even know
holy
anymore.
crap.
You
Yeah,
can you
holy
could say it's
crap.
anything, but as Vinny says in the chat, Star Soldier, nice to see you. Vinny in chat
What's
says
up,
Rogers
Vinny?
here yet? Well, we don't know yet because we're gonna pick this guy's brain tonight. This guy drives me crazy, but I love him so much, and as he knows, I love him. He's actually from Missouri, the same place that I'm from, and
Oh, get a room.
it's very fun. No, there is no room. There is no room. This guy is a huge Packers fan. We're gonna break down his mind when it comes to Rodgers, his team, and it's funny what he's wearing right now. He is from the Nick Bodkins show on Let's Talk Sports. He's got his own channel, Nick Bodkins, where he talks about all kinds of sports. Everyone, welcome my friend Nick Bodkins, my man.
What's up,
How
y'all?
What's up?
What
how
is
are you
up?
doing?
What's
What
up?
the hell are you wearing?
So,
Come on, man.
this
It's
isn't by
Monday.
choice.
It's Monday.
This isn't by choice. So, here's the thing I'm a man of my word.
Okay.
I pay my debts. So, one of my co hosts, Tanner,
Tanner.
we made a friendly wager. He's obviously a big Chiefs fan. I'm a big Joe Burrow guy.
Right.
Anybody who's
Right,
watched
right,
my
right.
stuff knows
Right.
I have a man crush on Joe Burrow. And
So
we
do
made
we
a
all.
wager yesterday. Bet was, hey, Bengals win. You got to wear a shirt from now till the Super Bowl. Burrow's my daddy, and you got to say it every time you're on air at least one time. So my bet is, hindsight, the Chiefs win. I wear Chiefs shirt, Chiefs hat, and I'll say and the home of the Chiefs. Every time I'm on air, just like I just did right there. So that covers it from now till the Super Bowl. So every time you see me on Let's Talk Sports, my own channel, I'll be wearing this exact getup every time.
Wow.
Are you're almost like that commercial with with Patrick Mahomes where he doesn't like wash his gear, his practice gear. Are you gonna wash that from now to the Super Bowl?
No, I won't wash it. I'll probably literally take it off, put it on my desk. Every time I come on do a show, I'll just put it back on. So
there you go.
There's no washing. I feel disgusted in it, but I am a man of my word. I pay my debts. If there's one thing about me, I am true to my word and everything else. So
you're just like you're just like Gino. You always feel disgusted and you don't wash.
Excuse you? Excuse you? This stuff doesn't happen overnight.
So there's I got to clear the situation with Italy Jet here because here's the thing. He's mad at me because I said Italy Jet from Missouri. So the reason is because the man is.
That's not it.
Let's clarify something because. So his name is Italy Jet, right? So a normal and human being in the world that walks Earth, guy says, "Hey, my channel's Italy Jet. What do you think?" Oh, this motherfucker from New York, New Jersey, right? Like, he's Italian and he likes the Jets. I gotta be from New Jersey or fucking New York, right? So then he hits me up in the DMs and it's like, "Hey, man, you're from Rolla, Missouri?" I was like, "Well, I live there currently, yes." Oh man, I live in St. Louis. The fuck you do live in St. Louis? There's no way some normal person walking Earth named Italy Jet is from St. Louis. They don't even have Italians in St. Louis. I mean, that's why they got the shitty ass pizza. So I mean, come on. And this guy, and he's a Jet fan. So I mean, and I thought I was the only one. So of course I span out. I talked to all my friends, talked to all the LTS co-hosts. I'm like, hey y'all. Where's it? Do y'all know Italy Jet's from Missouri? Like, the fuck? I was like, exactly. I said, didn't you think he's from New York? They're like, New York or New Jersey for sure. Italian and he's a Jet fan. Go hand in hand. Nah, this guy is the only Italian living in St. Louis and the only Jet fan, and here he is. So actually, that's why anytime you hear me, I'm like, Italy Jet from Missouri. That's just my correlation to my brain giving him a hard time.
Yeah, you would think he's from like Brooklyn.
Exactly, right? Like, hey, from the Bronx Italy, or some shit. Italy. Fucking shitty ass Jersey.
Little Italy.
Or Europe. Yeah. Or Europe.
But here he is, rep Italy Jet from Missouri, repping it.
Oh, this guy. Oh my gosh.
Tanner. What would we do without him?
Exactly. Look at Tanner. See, Tanner's checking up on me.
This guy. You all drive me insane, but with love. But
Gino.
What's up?
Actually, Nick, you're not the only one.
Exactly, man. You need to put in quotes from Missouri. Everybody's gonna think you from Jersey.
I love the secrecy. I'm not gonna share my entire business out there.
Hey, what if I would have went to New York? What if I would have went up here? What if I would have went to New York and was like, "Yo, man, I'm in New York. I'm gonna be in New York in a couple weeks." You would have been like, "Oh man, I don't live in New York." I would have been like, "Oh shit, well, there's that."
I live in New York, so
well, there you go. At least you represent. You got the right representation.
Nah, man, dude, I'm full. I don't represent really anything from Missouri. The only thing I rep is the Hill. That's really it. Or North County, or St. Louis University, Edwardsville. You know that type of crap. But
you should be St. Louis Jet.
Yeah, see, St. Louis Jet.
No,
that would have been way better.
No, Italy Jet is a great movement. It's a great movement.
Oh, it's a movement.
It's a movement. This is a movement. Italy Jet's a movement. It's a movement. I love it.
From St. Louis, though. It's from St. Louis.
Amen. My family's from Sicily, so respect the elders.
Hey, I respect it, brother. I respect it.
But my question is, how did you get in touch with Let's Talk Sports and the Bodkins show? Because you even said on some of your shows that you recently have done this, right? Like, this ain't new. Like, this is not old, or it's new, right?
It's new, yeah. So I credit a lot to my wife. This has been like being broadcasting and stuff has been like my dream for life. Like most kids are dreaming about playing in the NBA. I realized at a young age. I'm not athletic. I'm just tall, lanky, and goofy. So, but one thing I could do is I could talk, man. I could talk and make people laugh. So being a broadcaster is always what I wanted to do. life happens, didn't happen, whatever. But even like my cousins playing video games, they would shut the TV off, and I would announce their video games and shit like that. So it's something I've always done. And then I would always talk about how I want to do it. My wife just told me, shut the fuck up and do it. And so I started just on my phone doing like weekly recaps, and I love making people laugh and just having a good time. It's just kind of who I am as a person. So my channel, if you look way back in the early days, there's some stand-up comedy even in there. And it was just going to be the Bodkins. It was just called Bodkins Comedy. And I just on Twitter one day, I was scrolling through, and somehow Dan Harris from Let's Talk Sports was on there and said, hey, man, it just was like, I'm looking for people who can talk sports or whatever, promote their stuff. And I was like, I talk sports. I can talk sports with anybody all day from anytime, any sport you want. He's like, well, why don't you come on? I'm doing like a, collaboration show. And it's a bunch of like 8 dudes and myself, and they all kind of had fancy get-ups, and I just had a little laptop in the back of my garage. Didn't even really have a show.
Gotcha.
And at that point in time, I was like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Why not? And then after that, it just kind of, I created, I was like, well, I need to change the YouTube show. I need to change my YouTube. So everybody, all my friends always called me Bodkins. Nobody's ever really called me Nick. I credit that. And my son asked me that once just recently. He's like, Dad, well, how come everybody calls you Bodkins and they don't call you Nick? I said, because there's 1,001 Nicks. I said, but there's only one Bodkins, baby, and that's me. So that's, so that's kind of how that happened. And I called my best friend, one of my best friends, who's a tattoo artist, John Lively, shout out, and said, hey, man, could make me a cool design, wrapped this up in 20 minutes, and away we went. And Dan's been putting my stuff out there. I had my own channel and just continues to grow here. I've only really been at it less than a year, probably. I think April would be right about a year, because I think I started with the NFL draft time frame, and that was just literally just picking up my phone, doing like a weekly wrap up in my own style, and just putting content out. And then one thing led to another. So
nice.
Well, there you go. Okay.
So Gino tells me you're a Packers fan. How did that come to be?
Dad was a Packers fan. I grew up in the Reggie White era. Is when I was a young kid. Reggie White, Brett Favre. That's my first jersey I ever was given to me. My mom bought it for me when I was like in the 5th grade. So I had that jersey, and that's just kind of how it went. Been a fan since. Everybody here in Missouri is a Chief or Rams fan. I got a little bit
into Bears.
Yeah, a little Bears, just depending. But I got into the Rams a little bit when they first came, and they were like the greatest show on turf. But then it was like all these Rams fans came out of the woodworks, just like everything else, when everybody else was good. And I was like, well, screw that, because I was like, I didn't see y'all talking about him beforehand. So I kind of jumped off that ship, and I was still a Packers fan even at that time, but just was like, I could, being from Missouri, I could root for the Rams a little. But then I just stuck with, always been a Packers fan, and through the good times and what little bad times we've had in my life.
Yeah, not many.
I feel like the dark days are coming, though. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I want to get into. So, as you know, Brett Favre was traded to us from the Packers, and it could probably do it again when it comes to Rodgers being traded from the Packers to the Jets. Do you, in your personal opinion, Bodkins, do you want that to happen? Are you ready for a rebuild? In that
what I tell you had to happen. You give me Quentin Williams, Sauce, and 2 firsts.
We talked about this.
That's the asking price.
No, it's not happening.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to trade. In all honesty, I don't want to trade Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're going to trade Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I think the hard cap is too much. Okay. It's like $95 million against the hard cap. Now, he even said in a recent interview with Pat McAfee, hey, I'm going to have to rework my deal to stay at Green Bay to make sure that we can continue to contend. He knows that, because the cap is what it is. So he's going to have to rework his deal to stay, but I don't think I am probably out of my mind. You're not the first person to tell me that. But I don't think he's going anywhere.
Okay.
And I damn sure don't think he's going to the Jets. Okay. I don't think he's a New York guy. I don't think that fits his personality. He's a laid back, California guy, kind of guy, more or less. And I don't think there's any person. I don't think the media in New York would. He's not going to do well there. And that's just because like they're going to be wanting of his front door, and he's not that type of person. He likes to be secluded. He likes to smoke some trees, and I don't think they're going to let him do that in New York.
Well, the way I look at it is I really don't think Aaron Rodgers cares like what Rich Cimini has to say, to be completely honest with you. Like he's always kind of struck me as like a little bit of a like kind of douchey, which he is.
I
But
wouldn't
it's
say
like
douchey is a word. I would say he's just more of like nonchalant. Like just don't fucking like fuck your opinion and whatever
yeah,
else.
that's fair. So I mean, like all signs are pointing towards him being traded. However, and actually,
Right.
Adam Schefter said that the Packers like want to move on from him. What are
So
your thoughts on that? Do you think there's
I
any truth to
don't. So
that?
Shefty kind of cleared that up today too. He was on Pat McAfee too and said I didn't really. I was kind of talking just like we're talking and was like maybe they're ready to move on or they would only trade him to the AFC. Like, and he was just like I didn't. That's not inside knowledge. It's just like it makes sense, right? Like why would we trade him to the NFC? We did Favre was like he's not going to. I would say he's kind of smug a little bit. I don't know. I mean, if you watch him on Tuesdays, I don't feel like he's all that smug. But I think so. Shefty kind of cleared that up a little, but he's saying that. But all season long, the Packers were saying we want Aaron back. We want Aaron back. We're not. We're still Aaron. Here's the difference in Favre and Aaron. And when Favre was getting ready to retire, and this saga was going on for 3 years, much like kind of like Aaron's is almost, but not as quite as bad. I don't feel like. Everybody in that damn building said, this kid right here is better than that old man. Everybody in the locker room said it. All personnel said it. You don't hear one word that Jordan Love is better than Aaron Rodgers. In fact, you hear the kid still needs to work. The kid still needs some time. The kid's this. The kid's that. We still want Aaron. How are they ready to move on from Aaron when just last year they signed him to that big-ass contract to really make sure he's a big a Green Bay Packer for life. So there's a difference in the Aaron Rodgers. They looked at Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre on the roster and said, Aaron's better than Brett. We can go. We may need a year to rebuild, which they went 6-10 Aaron's first year. And then the next year went 10-6 and lost a wild-ass game to the Cardinals in the playoffs. So, that is where that's, coming in. To be fair, he's more chill on Pat's show, but take it to the media. He has a personality like a wet sponge. I mean, I think he's more relaxed on Pat's show because that's who he trusts, right? You're not going to open up the book. You are going to be a little smug to people who you don't think have maybe the best interest on you, and you're not going to, open up when you're somebody like Aaron Rodgers is.
Well, that's the thing with the media too. It's like anything you say, they're going to spin it in a negative way.
Right. They're going to spin it the way they want to spin it. That's everything. Everything. Yeah. ESPN, everybody's going to spin their shit the way to get headlines.
Everybody has a narrative, man.
Exactly.
With us signing Hackett, though, do you think that persuades him a little bit?
Denver thought the same thing, right? That's the reason allegedly maybe he was the head coach at Denver.
Yes.
Hey, we'll hire this guy. He'll bring Aaron in. No, they hired Hackett because around the league, I don't really think people in really the league wise blame Hackett's mess for Denver. I think most people are putting the blame on Russ,
Right.
So I think to me, so they're just saying Hackett got the raw deal, new owner, whatever. They're tied to Russ. Is who can you get rid of quicker, the coach or the quarterback? Well, you just paid Russ $100 million into a 7-year deal, plus you gave up 5 first-round picks to get him. So it's easier to get rid of the coach. See you later. The Jets obviously needed a new offensive coordinator, which is going to be interesting because it's kind of all the same similar type shit that I feel like Matt LaFleur was running, maybe just a little bit different type play caller.
Right. See, I want to go back to Jordan Love there for a second.
Yeah, go
ahead. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love? Because a lot of people are saying that the Packers are going to be moving on from Aaron Rodgers because eventually you're going to have to do something with Jordan Love, whether that be trade him or you get to pick up his 5th year. He's going into his 3rd year. He sat behind arguably obviously one of the best quarterbacks of all time. It's his time to step up. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love? Do you think that you guys are going to sign him to his 5th year, continue to roll with him, or what are you
If
guys doing with him?
if we're grading, I don't know. Like that's the thing; it's just incomplete. I don't have a real great opinion on the kid. Nothing of this is his fault. I blame management for a lot of everything.
For jumping up to get him. Yeah.
First of all, what the hell you doing? Aaron just took you to the NFC Championship game. Why don't we freaking get a guy that can get somebody? Why were we not trading up to get Justin Jefferson? Because you imagine Devontae and Justin Jefferson for 2 years together. Instead, we're drafting Aaron's replacement, which made no sense. Well, Aaron said the big FU and went to win back-to-back MVPs. I blame a little bit of it on COVID. I know that's weird to say, like, how come that? Because at the time, they're not going out. They're not getting personal looks on guys. They're not getting, the actual tape. It was different at that time. Remember, with the way the draft was being set up, they weren't going really in person a lot. So I think I blame a little bit on that. Jordan's just in a bad situation. I think they kind of knew he thought it was going to be a project. And then here we are. So it's really management's fault. I don't think that Jordan Love is – I don't want to say I don't think he's not the guy for the next 20 years or 10 years or 5 years. But, I mean, to your point, Liam, like time is ticking. What are they going to do? Because they're going to have to pick – you got to pick up his fifth-year option because you don't draft a guy and never see him play. So you have to pick up his fifth option and continue to ride this out. Or maybe he's just like, yo, get me the hell out of here so I can try to play for somebody. But who's going to give him a good enough money to be the starter? Or can you just bring him in to compete? Because, again, nobody knows of this kid other than the people inside the building because it's hard to judge off a preseason, right? Like it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't – his – he had one start against Kansas City, not great, but kept us in the game. Looked good against, a little spot against the Eagles this year. Didn't look great against the Lions in half last season. So nobody really knows. So if I was to grade, it's just a big incomplete because I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I was in the building, could tell you more. But from my point of view, you got to pick up his fifth-year option and just ride this thing out. But if you ask me, who do you choose, Rodgers or Love right now, I'm going to choose Aaron because I think Aaron gives us the best window to win right now. Maybe not down the road, obviously, because of his age, but maybe for the next 2 or 3 years, I still think he probably gives us the best opportunity to win. And you got to – that's the thing is I love teams because Green Bay never does this, so that's not their MO. Teams who go all the way in. We saw the 49ers go all the way in this year trading for CMC. Now they just got screwed yesterday because their third-string quarterback got hurt, and that now, and then they had to put the fourth-string quarterback in. But Green Bay never goes all in and makes the right move, so who knows what the hell they're going to do.
If you remember also when he got drafted, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers was on the McAfee show live, and he claims he didn't know.
No, they didn't know. They didn't talk to him about any of it.
Right.
And that was the thing, and that was the big gripe. And they fixed that. So he was on Pat right before they drafted. And then, and then came back later on, like a couple of months and was like, yeah, I didn't know we were going to draft Jordan Love. They didn't talk to him about it. So, I think a guy, anybody who's worked for a company, just you picture yourself working for a company for as long as Aaron has and been the best worker they've had for, 12, 15 years at this point, almost 18 years, almost 20 years, I guess, 2000. And he came out in 2006 or so. So almost, 20 years, 15 plus years. And you're looking at, hey, wouldn't you want somebody to tell you the changes that they're making with the company? Like your boss, wouldn't you want to be, hey, boss, I'm second in command pretty much. I would want to know. So no gripe there, right? Like they didn't tell him. I'd be pissed off too. You didn't tell me we're making these changes, especially somebody who's supposed to replace me. And I feel like, hell, I'm still better than half the guys in the league, which he still is.
I agree 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I'm going to go switching over to the Jets a little bit, and we'll talk about your Packers when it comes to this too. I know I already know what you want to give up for.
So it would really be, it would have to be a couple first. I don't like these. I see, and I kid about the Quinn Williams and Sauce Gardner. I know that's
I know.
But realistically, it would have to be at least 2 first.
Really?
To me.
I'm okay with that. I would give up 2 first in a heartbeat.
2 first and something else maybe.
You got to understand, we've had
Corey Davis.
No, I don't want Corey Davis or his contract.
Nobody does. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But you got to think, like, realistically, the New York Jets have had 16 first-round picks since 2012. How many of them have worked out? I can't even name, like, just like off the top of my head, a lot of the first-round picks. I just can't. And not only that, it's just like but we've had one good draft, and that was Sauce. You could argue the 2021 draft was good too. You had Elijah Moore, a couple of those guys, but
yeah, you had this year. You hit on this year, right? You had Bryce Hall, you had Sauce, you had
Breece Hall,
yeah. Garrett Wilson, like that. They hit this year. They smashed it out of the park. A lot of that was, I think, to make up for the quarterback you did take, what you shouldn't have done at number 2 last year.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, though, if we didn't take him, the 49ers were going to. So, like, at the time, I think Zach Wilson was the right move. Just like in 2018, at the time, Sam Darnold was the best quarterback there. Obviously, in hindsight, it didn't work out, but going into that, he was the best quarterback.
I liked Justin Fields last year more than I liked Zach Wilson. I had Trevor and Zach. I had Trevor and Fields 1 and 2. But that's just
I kind of had to sell myself on Zach, but once I started watching his film, I kind of was because he has nice film. A lot of his BYU film looks pretty good. The kid has an arm, no doubt. It's just if he could learn how to like read defenses, if he could just figure out the mental part, I think we have a quarterback on our hands. I really do.
That's the thing, though, is like, and I see like people say Justin Fields is an athlete, but he played in the Big Ten where that's real legit defenses, and I'm not saying like. What's BYU? The Pac-12? I don't even know what conference they're in anymore. Mountain West and whatever the hell. But it's BYU. I just like I knew right then and there, like, that's not the guy. You don't want that. Like, name one other quarterback that's ever, you know what I mean? I didn't feel right about it. He kind of came out of nowhere. As far as like when the draft started processing, and maybe because I don't live on the West Coast, so it's hard for me to like those college teams to like dive deep into that. But I just was more apt to Lawrence and Fields because they took their teams to higher strengths, and you saw them in them big games perform.
Yeah. So if Aaron Rodgers was to come to the Jets, do you think any of the players would follow him?
I don't know.
I'm hearing like free agent, and then Cobb is probably going to be cut.
Yeah, Randall Cobb probably. Maybe Alan Lazard. He's a free agent.
Yeah,
but like, here's my question to you: are the Jets with Aaron Rodgers so much better than the Packers with Aaron Rodgers?
Not even to be biased here, I think they have a lot more talent than the Packers.
I think I give a little bit more of the defense and younger youth wise, but is it not again? And then let me ask this too: is it not easier right now to go to the Super Bowl through the NFC than the AFC?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. The NFC, yeah.
Well, Aaron's trying to get back to the Super Bowl. So why would you go to an AFC team when and in the playoffs you got to go? We just seen it. Burrow, Allen,
Mahomes,
right? Like
Lawrence was in there. Herbert,
Lawrence, I mean, and then you who knows what happens with Lamar Jackson, which I think he's going to stay.
Yeah, they'll tag him and stay him.
You know what I mean? Like that's 5 dudes and 5 quarterbacks right there that. Man, that's a gauntlet to try to get through. You got to play your absolute best through 5 weeks, to get to the Super Bowl, 3 weeks. And then depending on how the matchups play, you don't know how that's going to happen. So, and I think it's going to be easier on the NFC. You look at the NFC, it's really wide open. Yeah, the Eagles right now are the creme de la creme of the NFC. But, Jalen Hurts gets hurt or something, which has happened this year. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they fear the Lions, but the Lions and the Vikings. So your division is pretty tough too. I mean,
it's coming along. It's coming along, right? Like the Minnesota, you still can't. As long as Kirk Cousins are on their quarterback, I'll never pick them to win a big game, and that's just it. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Until it's one of them things. Until I see it differently, I gotta go with what I know. Until you prove me wrong.
He's like one of those like really good like elite. You always have these like elite like regular season quarterbacks, and like once they get into the playoffs, it's just they completely.
He's an average, above average quarterback. I mean, he's like target and everybody else might be Walmart. You know what I mean? Like he's just a little bit above. He's not a top 10 guy. He's not a guy that you trust to really, hey, that's the guy we're hitching our wagon to win us the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you're a Packer. You've been a Packers fan for a long time. I know there's been all kinds of reports about Rodgers. I know coming to the Jets, but overall, a lot of people do have a worry of the toxic that he brings. For a fan, from what you're seeing on TV, and you probably got some sources or friends that are Packers fans too, is Rodgers really that toxic, or is it just blowing out proportion?
I never heard anybody do an interview. The only person, I take that back. One person and all of Rodgers' teammates has said one bad thing about the man.
Okay.
And that's Greg Jennings. And Greg Jennings said, you watch Greg Jennings on TV, he said Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback. So really, what the hell does Greg Jennings know? I mean, he's out here bashing Aaron Rodgers, but then you're praising Daniel Jones? That don't make sense.
That makes sense.
I mean, there's that. I don't think so. I don't think he's toxic. I think he expects a lot. I mean, Brady expects a lot, his teammates to perform their absolute best. The greatest, that's the thing, is greats expect greatness out of everybody to put in their work. Kobe Bryant once said, when they said, how come you don't pass the ball to your teammates? He said, because they don't work like I work. They don't put in the work that I work. They come to practice and then they leave right after practice. But they ain't putting in the work like I put in the work.
It's true.
Is that toxic? No. Or is that like, hey, this month is spitting facts because he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time? Aaron Rodgers, same way. Greats think differently and demand differently. And just like Michael Jordan did with his teammates, he demanded greatness because he was greatness. Now, their level of greatness wasn't as great as they are, but that's just the thing. So some people could say, well, that's toxic, but he's just holding you and himself to a higher standard. And that's how winning's done.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that's really kind of like what the Jets need. Like their defense is top 5. And
I think right now the Jets have a Super Bowl caliber defense.
Yep. And their offense isn't bad at all either. I mean, like you're a quarter. That's what I'm saying. You are a quarterback away. If you want to go and get another elite wide receiver, go ahead. I would take a D-Hop in a second, but you have Garrett Wilson. You have a lot more.
Take a D-Hop in a second? That's the real question.
The only thing that would concern me with Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets is the offensive line. We do not have a good offensive line. That's definitely something that you would have to beef up, which I'm hearing that there are good offensive linemen going into the second and third rounds, which is kind of rare, that it is kind of a deep line class again. So,
yeah, and that was Green Bay's downfall, I felt, this year offensively. That offensive line, going into the season, I thought if we could play really good defense, our offensive line, we just run the ball and let these rookie receivers kind of develop, and we'd play really good ball at the end and maybe catch in. And we almost did that, but the offensive line just never really felt like it got going. Too many injuries. Bakhtiari's in and out. Elton Jenkins was banged up at times. So that offensive line's crucial. And we really needed Aaron to play at elite level at all times. And at 38, 39 years old, or how old he is, I think he's like 38. You're asking a lot. 39. 39. So you're asking a lot out of a 39-year-old to have to play at elite level and to cover up some holes that maybe he just – and it didn't help that he got hurt at the same time and playing through that injury with the thumb and some ribs and issues too. So I think that all compounded, and, I mean, that's the type of season we had. Our defense wasn't as good as I thought it was on paper. It looks really good, but it didn't play as good. So I blame that on the DC coordinator. And, and they're going to have to figure this thing out in Green Bay. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets, but if he does, then it is a full-fledged on rebuild. If you're going to trade Aaron Rodgers, you got to just get rid of a lot of people. I think maybe Aaron Jones is gone. I think a couple other people might be gone, and you just start from the ground up.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, that's kind of like the rumor that's going around is like, you guys are going to kind of like do what we did, is acquire a bunch of draft picks and then just move on. Because like realistically, I don't want Aaron Rodgers if it's like a 1-year deal. For me, it's 2+ years. I think at most you probably get 3 years out of him. But it's just, I don't know how much more he wants to play. Like, does he want to go through the hustle? Does he want to go through the grind again?
And that's what he talks about on Tuesday with Pat McAfee. Is like, I got to decide if I want to play. Do I really want to go through this whole rigmarole, this like the two-a-days or the OTAs. This he doesn't even really have to do a whole lot, but in Green Bay. And the thing is, if he gets traded, like then that's a whole new. I got a new program, new teammates, new this, new playbook, new everything. Does he want to do all that?
Yeah, I mean, he was sending a lot of like cryptic messages where he even said he's like, listen, like if I get traded, like no hard feelings, like
Yeah.
So I definitely think that there is smoke to the fire. Like it's at least being talked about within your organization, within
But
your
there's
front
been
office.
smoke to the fire for 3 years, though. You know what I mean? Like it was Jordan Love. Well, damn near 4 years ago, right? Like, was it 2020? I guess 3 years. 2020 when they drafted Jordan Love. So like that's where the fire started, and then there's Aaron once traded. Well, then he's like, well, we worked that out, the next year. Then last year it was like, another bad loss in the playoffs to the 49ers. Like, what's going to happen? Well, then Aaron signs this huge deal. Now it's, is he going to come back? Are we trading him? We've been doing this dance for 3 years. So how much is it just like you said, Liam, at the beginning, everybody wants to spin a narrative.
Yeah.
How much is that? And how much is that, shit, we need something to talk about, boys. Like, I mean, really, I feel like, and that's the way it was with Brett Favre. I mean, they used to have Lisa, old girl, Erin Andrews or somebody, Sarah Saunders, somebody is sitting outside Brett Favre's house every year to talk about whether he was retiring or not. Sometimes ESPN just needs something to talk about. Well, shit, what moves the needle? The Cowboys and quarterback talk, So there's that. So how can we move the needle? Hey, I heard Aaron Rodgers wants to be traded. I heard Aaron's not happy. I heard they want to trade him to the AFC. So that gives 3 hours of on Get Up with Greeny they can talk about.
I can't do it. Get Up anymore.
I don't watch nothing of that shit.
Yeah.
Ryan Clark just pisses me off to no other.
I used to love RC, and then he's good on his podcast with the pivot, but if he's on ESPN, I can't handle him.
It's just everything he says, he like counteracts and then like tells you why all he does is just tell you, hey, you're wrong. That's not true. What you're saying is actually completely wrong. He doesn't really bring anything else to that, though. He's not really adding to the show. He just kind of tells you that you're wrong the entire time. At least that's the way I look at it.
Right.
No, you're right.
Now, according to you, which is really funny, according to you on your show with Johnny Cruz, Cobe, and Tanner, if Tanner's watching this, the Jets are linked with everybody. So, how about this? For you,
they are linked with the Jets. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, we aren't.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Hold on. If you say we're linked with everybody, which is really realistically, it's been Rodgers, Carr, and Garoppolo, who would you get out of those three if you were the Jets?
That's first of all, that's everybody. That's everybody that you.
You're talking about Brissett. We're not talking about Minshew. We're not talking about really.
Of course, we're not talking about them because that don't upgrade everybody. You're linked to everybody that would upgrade you because you're looking for a quarterback. That's what I mean by that.
Even Baker too. But who would you do? What would you do?
I can't do Baker.
I can't do Baker either. But what would you do?
I would do Jimmy G. I would probably do Jimmy. I think he fits. Hey, Italian Paisan Jimmy.
I know. I like that, but
he's right at home in New York, where you're supposed to be, instead you're chilling in St. Louis.
You're supposed to be
Jimmy
somewhere. I don't know where you're at.
Hey, Jimmy would get it done, baby. The real Paisan Jimmy G. I think I've said that. I said New York Giants or Jets even last year.
Too long.
I said both of them. I think he kind of fits what they need. He would know that system. I mean, a little different with Hackett, but I think he'd fit right in. So, yeah, I would say that. I mean, I don't think Derek Carr would be a bad option because he's got a little bit stronger arm for the Meadowlands wind, in that stadium. So, those Jimmy G would be my first choice. He's a guy and you got to think the Jets have built what the 49ers did, and he took that team to the Super Bowl. A really good defense and, some really good offensive weapons. Why not?
Why not Aaron Rodgers?
Because they ain't trading him, baby. He ain't coming. I mean, maybe he does, and I could be wrong, and I'll eat crow. Right. I will come on. I'll come on the next day. You guys say, hey, you got to eat crow. I'll say, hey, I was wrong.
Right.
Hey, Look what I'm wearing because I was wrong about something.
Bad.
So I am a man. I will admit when I'm wrong, and I'll tell the whole world when I'm right.
It's bad.
Yeah,
I'm
I
embarrassed
mean
for you.
that's all right. That's all right. Um, the thing with like Jimmy G is like he does have like the injury concerns, but other than that, I mean, I like Jimmy G too. Like before, like the whole Aaron Rodgers thing came out, he kind of was like the guy. But I'm not huge on Derek Carr. I'm really not. I don't think. I think Derek Carr gets you into the playoffs. I don't know if he gets you to a Super Bowl though. I don't know if Jimmy G gets you to a Super Bowl. I mean, he's shown that he could do it. He's done it before.
I don't know.
But
I don't know if there's a quarterback really. Again, it just because I'm all the other quarterbacks in the AFC get you that are out there available, unless it's Lamar, which I don't think is going to happen, would get you to the Super Bowl. Maybe. I mean, it's possible. I mean, AFC Championship game, possible, yes, but to the Super Bowl, man. But anything can happen on any given Sunday.
True.
I have a question though. I mean, you touched a little bit on Hackett, but like, what were like your really thoughts on like Hackett? Like, do you think it's a good hire for the Jets or?
Yeah. What would
Yeah, I
he
do.
didn't
I
call
do.
plays.
I think he was a great OC in Green Bay, and this year you could see his absence left because they said like he was really good in the red zone, and we were number one. We used to be number one on big plays in the red zone, and I think so. I think you saw with him the absence of him and Devontae Adams. Obviously, anytime you lose a talent like Devontae Adams, but you saw that as a Green Bay Packer fan, what Hackett was doing in that red zone, and we just couldn't score touchdowns. We had to settle for field goals, or we would go for it in fourth down and we wouldn't get it. So I do think he's a really good OC. I don't necessarily know. I put a lot of the blame on him. He's got to take some of it, but I put a little bit more on Russ, and so yeah.
Okay. Do you think he establishes the running game well over here because you had Jones and you had Dillon, and now we have Hall and Carter and possibly Knight with our third option? Do you think he utilizes?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we ran the ball pretty. We came from Mike McCarthy, who never ran. He came from the Andy, like just would never like run the ball like when you needed it to. Like Mike, just run the ball. Down their throat, it's working, and we would never do it. And you saw it work in Green Bay. At one time, we had really three good running backs. And when you had Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and A.J. Dillon on his rookie year, then they let Jamal go. And then you saw last year, really both those backs worked really well. So,
okay. What are your thoughts on Mike McCarthy when Aaron Rodgers was there and Hackett was there? Did you like him?
Well, Hackett wasn't there with Mike.
Well, did like the Super Bowl run with Mike McCarthy and Rodgers? What did you think about all that?
Well, at the time I was, celebrating, but I mean, then Mike he's bad clock management, doesn't stick with the run. It cost us a chance to the Super Bowl when we lost to Seattle in the NFC Championship game, and then Seattle went and lost. That was the Lynch game, if you remember. That was so Green Bay should have played in that game. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So,
yeah, I remember when you guys had originally fired McCarthy. He wanted to come to the Jets, and I was all for it at the time.
And said, that would have been a good hire. I mean, he would have been better than Adam Gase, but I mean, the three of us probably could call a better game than Adam Gase. So,
true.
Adam Gase was just too busy snorting lines off of hookers' butt cracks in New York. There, so
what else is there to do in New York? I mean, that's what we do.
Right? See the Statue of Liberty, I guess. I mean,
That's what Aaron Rodgers wants to come here to do. He wants to come and
snort cocaine. Aaron Rodgers don't do cocaine, brother. He's smoking trees.
Yeah, he does that mushrooms and stuff too.
Right.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah, yep.
So for me, it's shit. I forgot my damn question.
Gino.
Fuck. That was so good too. Liam, say
St.
something.
Louis in him.
Shut
Right.
up.
I don't know. I mean, we were getting ready to wrap it up. I was told like 45 minutes. I'm like, all right, Gino, get like another question out, and then we'll plug him for a little, and then we'll go. But Gino screwed that all up.
I did.
So now we
completely all.
Now we have now we have to have 45 minutes of silence.
He's still thinking about snorting cocaine off of prostitutes, assholes in New York. He's like, damn, I wish I could do that shit.
No.
Yeah, that's really what got him. That threw him all off.
The St. Louis prostitutes ain't as nice as New York prostitutes, I promise you.
Everything's bigger in New York, you know. So
Oh my goodness. I know Dark Soldier wanted McCarthy as well during the time. I didn't really want him. Well, I did want him.
I did. I did.
I was up and down. Now I see what
He
he's
was
doing.
better than, I mean, what you got, you know what I mean? And the only reason Adam Gase got that job is because Peyton Manning said,
There you
yeah,
go.
sure.
Got my question. Okay. Is Hackett, so on social media and everything else, if we don't get Rodgers because of the Hackett connection, people are saying Hackett's been compared to Adam Gase hire. If it's because we can't get Rodgers here because of the Hackett situation. I disagree.
I
I think
disagree
Hackett's
because
better.
one is the head
But-
coach, one is the OC. So, like, you know, he's just
Yeah.
going to call plays. He's not running the whole organization. He doesn't show up on his press conferences, crazy eyes just going this way and that way. So I think I disagree. I don't think it's the same type of situation. I think Hackett's going to do great. I think you guys got a good OC. It just didn't work out as a head coach. And there's a thousand and
right.
people, that happens all the time.
Spagnola.
I mean, a lot of great
Spagnola's
OCs, DCs, you know, but they can't become head coaches.
We saw it firsthand with Todd Bowles.
Yeah. Todd Bowles, I mean, in Tampa Bay is kind of going through the same thing right now, right? Like, great DC, not a good head coach, you know?
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for all
Rex
your time.
Ryan, similar too, right? Great DC, not really a great head coach. Great motivator, I feel like. Great motivator of men, but not a great X's and O's, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, he's more of a cheerleader and, you know, wanted to be everybody's best friend. I liked Rex, you know, but I thought he was kind of like a bit obnoxious too, to be completely honest. A lot of people get like upset these days if you talk bad about Rex, but Rex really wasn't like all that great if we're being completely honest. I could think back to 100, seriously, I could think back to like 100 times where I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Rex? But like a lot of that wasn't all of his fault, you know. Like once you got rid of all of his talent, all of his weapons, then I mean, what do you expect a coach to do, you know? So
yeah,
it's like he gets praised for what he did with rookie and second year Mark Sanchez, but that was also with a veteran team around him. So I don't know. I mean, he didn't do much in Buffalo, so
no.
I think that.
And now look what they did. You know, they turned that whole thing around after he left. So
yeah. But I want to thank you for your time, man. Thank you for spreading some knowledge and some light on this Aaron Rodgers situation. So when he comes to the Jets, you know, you could, we'll come up with something for you.
Hey, I'll come back. I'll eat crow, my friends. I will eat crow. I will tell you I was wrong. So
if he doesn't get traded, we'll bring you on to, and then we'll eat crow. I'll have Gina eat crow.
Yeah, if Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is week 1 starter for Green Bay, or you know, you guys will have to eat the crow.
Yeah, that's fine. We could do that.
It's all right. I mean, you guys. I don't really. Do you guys really think he's coming there? I mean, what's your guys' honest opinion?
My personal opinion is yes. Woody Johnson, and that's not being like a biased Jets fan. Woody Johnson said that he's willing to spend big. Aaron Rodgers has kind of thrown out the cryptic messages, which he's done in the past, so it is kind of a toss up. I don't think that they just got Hackett out of the blue. He is a little bit.
Him and Bob Saleh know each other though. Like they're from the right. Like I mean,
yeah, they do.
Yes, I don't know. It's just the fact that he said that he wants to spend big. Like you can't say you're going to spend big and then go get Jimmy G or Gardner Minshew or Garoppolo, somebody like that. Spending big is going out and getting the best quarterback you absolutely can. I think that the Jets are absolutely going to at least swing for the fences here. They're going to try everything in their power to get him. To me, that's the right move. Like, let them tell you.
The 49ers reached out to Green Bay before they took Trey Lance and offered the farm for Aaron, and they didn't even really pick up the phone.
It's a different time, though. I mean, like, you guys are, like, it does seem like you guys are heading towards a rebuild. Like, you don't have as much talent as you had in years past. He is getting up there in age. You have to figure out with what Jordan Love is. LaFleur, I don't necessarily think he's on the hot seat. But you got to, if he wants to be a head coach long term for you guys, you got to figure out what you're doing for the future. And to me, you have like another 2-3 years of Aaron Rodgers, and then what? If you hold on to him for the 2-3 years, then you have to do something with an unknown Jordan Love. It's either that or you're trading for a quarterback. You're probably better off getting the draft capital to build around him, Jordan Love for the future. Or if you don't want to sign him, at least you have some first round picks where you can go up and get the quarterback that you want. That's just my personal opinion.
It makes sense, and that's what people who want to trade Aaron, that's what they'll say. We need to get rid of him. We need to, get the draft capital, the this and that. But that don't mean, like, first of all, them draft picks got to pan out. Like, like you guys said, you guys have drafted several first round picks that didn't pan out. We've drafted first round picks that ain't pan out. So, like, you don't know that shit. You don't know if Jordan Love's going to pan out and be what. But you know what you do know? Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best quarterbacks in this damn league. And he didn't have the greatest year this year. He still was one of the better ones in the league. You know what I mean? Like, he even said it best. My down years are better than some of these guys' best years. And that's the damn truth.
I'll tell you what, coming off of this year, if Aaron Rodgers had his stats for the Jets on the Jets this year, he'd be the fourth best quarterback in Jets history, statistic wise.
There you go.
But let me ask you a serious question. Do you think the Jets are closer to winning a Super Bowl or Green Bay right now?
Man,
because he wants another Super Bowl.
That's a good question.
And do you think the Jets are more of a Super Bowl ready team, or do you think the Packers are more of a Super Bowl ready team?
I think obviously I said the Jets have the defense, a Super Bowl defense, right? I stand by that because I said that and I stand by that. But because you guys are missing the key ingredient, right? You can't win in this league unless you have a quarterback, right? And you don't have it. We do. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, we do. The rest of the shit will figure it out. I feel like you got talent. You look at the rosters, really, hands down, it's almost even. That's why I said how much better is the Jets with Aaron Rodgers than the Packers are with Aaron Rodgers. Because you look at the defense. Okay, you got Quinn Williams. We have Kenny Clark. Like, Quinn Williams, maybe a younger, but might be just a smidge better than Kenny Clark. You look at linebackers like Quay Walker's. DeAndre Campbell was just an all-pro linebacker last year. You guys have Sauce. Jair Alexander is just as good, but more experienced than Sauce, And then you have Douglas and Stokes to compare with him. Then you look at the receiver. You look back on the offense, right? Yeah, Breece Hall, but he's coming off a torn ACL. Is he better than A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones? Probably not, You look at the receivers. You got Garrett Wilson, but Christian Watson came on just as good the second half of the season. Plus Dobbs, if he could stay healthy. Tight end situation. Again, both kind of a toss-up there. So, again, it's almost exactly even. But what do we have that you don't have is the franchise quarterback. So, at that point, with me saying that, I'm going to give the edge just a hedge to Green Bay, and they play in the weaker conference.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Were you pissed when Sauce had the cheese head on?
No, I wasn't pissed. I made me love Sauce more. I like Sauce. I really
love him.
I liked him, and the fact that you can come in there, hey, do your game and then talk your shit, just like Cincinnati should have done yesterday. Eli Apple, take notice. Sauce didn't say shit going into the game, but you know what? After the game, they beat us. Their defense led the way. Then you can talk your shit, wear the cheese hat, all for it. You talk shit before the game, and then you get your ass beat, Eli Apple. That's where you run into the problems. But hey. Huh?
The kids did. I can't stand
right. Yeah, nobody can. But if you're gonna talk, play the great game, talk your shit afterwards. Nah, made me love Sauce more. Hey man, good for you, Sauce. Rock the cheese hat. I don't give a shit, man. You beat us fair and square. You can't now. We beat you. You can't do shit. But you weren't talking shit before the game. Talk your shit after the game because you backed it up. Like, hey, we beat y'all. Hey, yeah, you did. Well, rock it. You know what I mean?
All right, classy fan. I like that. A lot of fans are like, no, I saw a lot of upset.
It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have he's a young kid. He just coming off a big game. Shit, I would have done the same shit, like you balled out like that.
Yeah. I don't know a ton of Packers fans, but I hear they're some of the nicest fans in the NFL. So
I don't know.
Dude, he's in the boondies somewhere. He's in the boondies somewhere, man. You don't know.
Have you been to Lambeau?
No, that's the number one on my bucket list to go to Lambeau.
Yeah, it's up there for me too. I want to get out there.
I think there's few halls in all the sports, like those cathedral, where you got to go no matter what kind of fan you are. If you're a fan of football, I feel like Lambeau Field is on that. baseball, Fenway, really the old Yankee Stadium, not so much the new Yankee Stadium, but Wrigley Field, like those type of places are monumental type places in sports. So,
I like that. But for me, if I had to go quarterback, it would be either Rodgers or Carr. But I know Carr doesn't play good in cold weather. But those are the better options, though. But Bodkins, man, appreciate you being on the show.
Hey, anytime.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the Bodkins Show right on YouTube, or also on Let's Talk Sports. I'm on there as well. We have do a show. We're getting ready to do a show at 8:30. Me and Tanner, Buffoon and Bodkins. You can catch us right there at 8:30 Central Time Zone. So that's you, Jet, because you live in Missouri. Liam, you live in New York, right? So I'm real
Long Island, yeah.
Long Island, real Jet fan, real Jet guy there. So you can catch us 9:30 on your time. So catch us there. Then I'm gonna have a show on Thursday where it's just try to talk with different people. Then Sunday's kind of like a one-on-one special interview. We just interviewed Derek Brown, former New York Giant, first-round pick in '93. Former Notre Dame Irish, was on a national title game in there. So that I put that out yesterday. So check that. Please check that out. It was a great interview with a guy who's been great coaches like Lou Holt, played for great coach Lou Holtz. He had to tell Jimmy Johnson, "Hey, I'm not coming to the U," in his own house. So. But played for Tom Coughlin, played for John Gruden. So we had a great conversation yesterday. So that happens so it's kind of like those Sunday sit downs with some people on Sunday nights. So you can catch me anytime.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast. Whenever this whole Aaron Rodgers thing gets settled up, we'll definitely bring you back on. Definitely do it again, man. I've had a blast.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I always love anytime anybody got stuff, just hit me up, man. I'm always love to come on people's stuff. So. Just especially if you've watched me and you know what you're getting into, because some people, I don't think they know what they're getting into when they ask me to come on, and then I'm like all hyper and cracked out, and they just like brr, brr, and I'm like, this is not for me. We're not vibing, but you guys, great time. We vibe. Liam, Italy Jet from Missouri knows he knew what he was getting into when he was asking me to come on. So appreciate it, boys.
You're welcome.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys, you can find Liam on all social media platforms as well. Official Liam Johnson. I'm Italy J. You can find me on all social media platforms. We got Boy Green coming on Wednesday night. It's going to be dope, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay safe and go Jets, not Packers. You have a good night.
Not Chiefs either.